Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only AI Legends, and yeah, guys, today I am back with another series which is going to be What If Naruto Was Banished by Konoha, and Konoha finally regrets it. So, yeah, guys, if you guys like the series in which Naruto get banished and Konoha, you can say, get on the verge of destruction, and you can say, it begs Naruto to return, then this series is for you guys, and I hope that you guys will enjoy the series. But before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are new to this channel or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. It will really help me a lot as I want to reach 10k as quick as possible, and I am quite near to 10k, and hopefully I will be able to reach it at the end of this month, of course with your support. So yeah guys, if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. And yeah guys, I have an Instagram page by the name of AR Legends 1234. I have also put the link of the Instagram within the description below, so follow me on Instagram. And yeah guys, don't worry about the previous series of, you can say, Satoru Gojo. I know that the last video was, you can say, halfway disrupted. I should have checked it. As a matter of fact, I have recorded this part before and it was also silent. So I'm going to, you can say, record it once again. And don't worry about it. I will, you can say, restart that video or re-upload the part after it. So yeah guys, without wasting any more of your time, let us start the video. As I'm going to start my video at the place where the legends have already fought. You guys guessed it already, as this video start at the valley of the end, as two figures known as Sasuke Uchiha as well as Naruto Uzumaki, both of them Genin at the age of 13, were glaring towards each other. Sasuke had already entered into his curse mark 7, you can say, second stage, while on the other hand Naruto already had one tail worth of 9 test chakra behind him, as both of them were glaring towards each other. As Naruto speak up, Sasuke, you have to stop this, damn it, you can still come back to the village. As Sasuke glared towards Naruto, and what make you think that I want to go back to that worthless village, Dobe? That village has nothing to offer to me. As Naruto gritted his teeth. And what about our bond, our friendship, of our team? As Sasuke started to laugh as he said, huh, and you think that I care about it? I care about such feeble bonds? Huh, if you really think about it, Dobe, then allow me to shatter those bonds of ours. As Sasuke put his hand down, and then the lightning started to crackle around it, as this lightning was black other than its blue. As Naruto gritted his teeth. Oh, Sasuke, if you want to insist on it, I will break each and every bone in your body if I have to. As Naruto started to make the Rasengan in his hand, as both of them looked towards each other and rushed towards each other, dashing towards each other with incredible speed, ready to test the strength of their new jutsus, their ultimate jutsus. As Sasuke speak up, Naruto, as well, it is always fun. As Naruto speak up, Sasuke, as both of them rush towards each other, as they slam their attack together, both of them trying their best to get the upper hand in the battle. As Sasuke started to think, no, I have to end this battle. I need the power. I'm an Avenger. These bonds mean nothing to me. I will get to Orochimaru and get the power, and then I will kill him. While on the other hand, other thoughts were going through the head of Naruto. I have to save him. I simply cannot let him go to Orochimaru. I simply cannot let my friend go to that damn snake. I will stop you, Sasuke. I will fulfill my promise to Sakura-chan. As Naruto started to push even more and more 9 test chakra into the attack, as Sasuke was also trying his best to increase the power of his attack, as both of these attacks rushed towards each other even further, as there was a big boom. But this time, you can say, the result of the battle was a bit different, as the victor was not Uchiha Sasuke but rather Uzumaki Naruto, as Sasuke was sent flying into the statue of the mother of Uchiha, as he slammed into it, as the Rasengan has already slammed into his body, as Sasuke tried to stood up, as he was glaring with as much hate as he can towards the only person, his rival, as the only one who he ever considered as a friend. But He will not accept it. His Uchiha pride will not accept it. He was down. He was not a victor. As Sasuke tried his best to stand up, but it was to no avail. As Uchiha Sasuke finally lost the consciousness, while on the other hand, Naruto was also hit with the backlash of the jutsu, as the ninth chakra was receding back into his body, as some of the burns were still there, along with some of the lightning was able to, you can say, reached Naruto's body as Naruto was bleeding from his chest as well as from his arm. But it did not matter. It did not matter. The pain did not matter. Nothing mattered at this point. Only one thing mattered, that he won. He won against his oldest rival there was, and he has finally fulfilled his promise. These were the only thoughts going on in the head of Naruto, as even in all the pain, he let out a small smile came to his face. He has done it. He has completed the mission, and now finally he can bring his friend back, and then he will have the acknowledgement of the village. He knows that how much village, you can say, love Sasuke, but he has to do this to defeat him, and finally the village will be happy and see him more than just a demon, and who knows, they might acknowledge him as a true shinobi. As Naruto smiled at that as he put Sasuke unconscious body on his shoulder, even though he was bleeding from the other arm. As he smiled at that, he was already running low on chakra, as he started to rush towards the hidden leaf village. After some time, he could see the gates of the Konoha as Naruto let out a smile, as he could see three figures were coming towards him. Kakashi, who was about to go out to see his students. Sakura, as the one who he has promised, and other person was none other than Tsunade Bachan, as Naruto let out a small smile as his chakra finally giving in, as he got knocked out in front of the gates, as Kakashi caught both Sasuke as well as Naruto as he looked towards his both students. As I said, Naruto, Sasuke, as he grabbed both of them as Tsunade checked their situation, as he said, well, we have to bring them to the hospital, as Kakashi nodded along with Sakura, as all of them simply went towards the hospital. Now let us have a small time skip, as it has been past 2 days as Naruto was finally starting to wake up. He had a small, you can say, chakra exhaustion, and especially the seal, as so that was the reason Naruto was simply tied down to the bed. As Naruto groaned a little as he started to stir open, his eyes shot open to see that how he was in the hospital. The white everywhere. Check the order of the medicine. Check. Well, damn. He was in the hospital. If one thing is known across the village, Konohagakure the Satere, that Naruto Uzumaki hates hospitals. But no, he was finally in the hospital. Contrary to many beliefs, Naruto hated hospitals only because of his old memories, the days when he got beaten up by the villagers, and only no one had to, you can say, take care of him. Only the third Hokage visited him here and there, but other than that, it was just bringing back bad memories which he did not want it to think about it. As Naruto simply shook his head as he tried to stir open, as he noticed that he had little to no flowers at his side. As Naruto simply shook his head, well, it was nothing new, but then again, he thought about it, it should have been changed a little. After all, Kakashi sensei, as Tsunade Bachan and many other people, he has friends, comrades now. At least one of them should have bring some flowers. As Naruto simply shook his head, as then the door opened to reveal a nurse entered into the room. As Naruto simply looked towards her, as nurse was already, you can say, looking towards the papers, but then she looked towards Naruto, who was sitting on his bed, as her eyes widened for a moment and then it shot into a glare which shocked Naruto for a moment. After all, it has been quite some time people started to, you can say, glare towards him like that, especially when he became shinobi. It became less and less, but there was something strange about it. It was filled with even more hate for some reason, but Naruto tried to shake it off as Nurse started to speak up. So you're finally awake, huh? Alright, I will inform the Hokage that you're awake. As after saying that, she simply went off by shooting another glare towards Naruto, as Naruto simply sighed at that, shaking his head, not trying to think about it. As after some time, he was simply, you can say, looking outside of the window, as Then suddenly the door snapped open as Naruto's eyes widened for a moment but then a smile finally came to his face. Finally someone he was waiting for, as he was not forgotten by his team as the one person which he loved with all of his heart, actually more than anything, as his Sakura-chan was standing there. As Naruto started to speak, "Hey Sakura-chan, guess what? I have fulfilled my promise. I bring Sasuke back." But before he could complete a sentence, a slap could be heard across the whole room as Naruto's eyes widened as his face was simply, you can say, printed with a slap of Sakura. As Naruto's eyes widened for a moment, trying to think what he has done wrong and why Sakura was reacting this way. As Naruto simply looked towards her with surprise in his eyes as he said, "What?" But before he could say anything, as Sakura started to speak, "How could you? How could you hurt Sasuke like that? I told you to bring Sasuke back to me, not half dead. Do you have any idea how much broken he actually was? He had two broken ribs, damn it, because of you." As Naruto's eyes widened for a moment, two broken ribs for a shinobi actually is nothing. As more than that, they broke in casual training. As Naruto started to speak, but I tried to talk to him. I didn't want to hurt him. He attacked, but before he could say anything, another slap could be heard. As she said, "How could you blame him for anything? He was controlled by the curse mark of Orochimaru, and you're just trying to put the blame on him. How could you, Naruto? My mom was right. You're nothing but a monster." As after saying that, she simply went off. As Naruto started was pretty shocked at this whole encounter, trying to think what actually happened, and the tears were at this point were freely rolling from his eyes as he was trying to think of something or anything at this point. As after some time, the door once again opened and his friends started to come in one by one as Naruto was expecting something better, but to his surprise, all of them started to blame him for one thing or for another. As Naruto could not believe his ears, what is even going on here? As you can say, as most of them started to blame him that how he was reckless at the mission and things like that. And then finally the last person came, which Naruto was not expecting that much, as it was none other than Shikamaru. As Shikamaru simply looked towards Naruto for some time, but then he sighed as he said, "Well, look Naruto, I'm not here to blame you for anything or about the whole situation about this Sasuke mission. I know that he was, you can say, simply out of his mind, as well as Sasuke was the rookie of the year. No one expected you to simply, you can say, win, but you are still able to win the match, even though Sasuke is not, you can say, that well at the moment. And but still, I'm not going to blame you for anything, but I think that there is something you should know and why they are simply acting like it." As Naruto simply looked towards Shikamaru, as Shikamaru simply looked towards Naruto, they know. As those were the words which Naruto dreaded of all the things that were there. As Naruto's eyes widened, as Naruto said, "What? What?" As before he could say anything, as Shikamaru sighed as he said, "Well, Naruto, I wanted to tell you, when you were knocked out or unconscious, it seemed that the council has came up with the idea of removal of the law of the third Hokage, and it has been announced that the law has been removed, and after it, all the clan heads along with the member of the clan has informed us all about that how you're the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, even though some of the council members were trying to push to say that how you were the Nine Tails itself, but I am not as fool as some other people, and I know that you're not the Nine Tails, but rather it's Jinchuriki is its prison." As Naruto could not believe it, his most, you can say, guarded secret has been revealed in front of everyone. Everyone knows. So that was the reason they were so angry about it. As then Shikamaru sighed as he said, "Well, Naruto, when you come out of the hospital, at this moment Shikamaru or Kiba is still in the hospital. So I will suggest you to stay away from Kiba as well as Choji. Kiba lost his father as well as many of the clan members in the attack, and same with the Choji. He lost most of his cousins and uncle and aunt, especially his mother, who got injured in the attack and became inactive shinobi. So they might try to blame you about something, but don't mind it at this point. They are just angry about it. So I'm just here to tell you. So don't get too much angry about it." As Naruto simply looked down to the ground. At this point, he doesn't even know what he can actually say about this whole situation. As Naruto simply looked down as Shikamaru sighed as he simply went off to look to see that if Choji is alright. As Naruto started to think, they know, and they have already told that how they actually think about me. Sakura has hit me and told me that how she actually felt about me. As Naruto was thinking, as tears were still, you can say, rolling from his eyes, as after some time, he decided to, you can say, move out of this hospital. He does not like the hospital whatsoever. Trying to, you can say, move around the village or trying to see what this village has to offer to him in the future, or rather, what is waiting for him to begin with, as Naruto, after some time, was simply moving across the village as many people were simply smirking at him as well as shooting glare towards him. Even the younger generation or Naruto could see that they were simply keeping their difference. Children of 10 years old, even the academy students, were simply looking towards Naruto as if he was some kind of monster or something like it. Now, let us cut back to, you can say, Tsunade's office as Tsunade was shooting glares towards Danzo as well as Hamura as well as Koharu as she said, "How dare you guys?" As all of them simply looked towards Tsunade with blank expressions as Danzo speak out, "What? We dare?" Tsunade simply you can say glared towards Danzo as she said, "It is Lord Hokage to you, Danzo." As Danzo simply narrowed his eyes towards her as she said, "How could you release the secret? How could you break the law of the third Hokage? Who do you think you actually are?" As Danzo simply looked towards her, "It was decided by the council when Lord Third or Hiruzen died, and it was decided by the council, and it is before you took the position of the Hokage. As for who we are the council members, and we have full right and authority given to us by our beloved third Hokage." At this, he let out a small smirk came to his face as Tsunade, at the thousandth time after taking the seat of Hokage, cursed her previous sensei as how much leeway he has given to the council and all the things, all the power council holds. And at this point, Hokage is nothing more than that of a figurehead, and she barely has any power. Council has too much pull, and it is really getting in her way, especially the innocent child that was Uzumaki Naruto, as Tsunade at this point just wanted to break something. As then Koharu speak out, "Well, Tsunade, it seems that the boy is finally awoken, so I suggest that it's about time that the council discuss about his punishment." At this, Tsunade's eyes, you can say, raised an eyebrow as he said, "What do you mean by his punishment, Koharu? Are you out of your mind? We should be discussing about the punishment of the Uchiha. He has deserted the village and tried to go to our traitor Orochimaru, who has killed off third Hokage himself." As Danzo simply shook his head, "Well, it seems that Hokage-sama, you're a bit uninformed, as Uchiha Sasuke only deserted the village because it is well known that how he was under the control of the curse mark, nothing more than that, and Orochimaru was trying to control him, and the curse mark of the Uchiha is already suppressed thanks to Jiraiya. So I don't think that there would be a need of the punishment, and trust me when I say it, council will also think that there is no need to for unjustified punishment of Uchiha Sasuke. As Tsunade's eyes widened, how could they say it? As Sasuke was clearly trying to become a missing link. He was a traitor, nothing more than that. And they dare to you can say, push all the blame to the innocent child, which he started to think as just like a son or a grandson to her as she gritted her teeth. As Koharu said, "Well, we have already sent messages to the clan heads as well as the civilian council member. You should be there, Hokage-sama. Otherwise, council, which according to the law will make the decision on its own." As Tsunade gritted her teeth once again, she cursed her old sensei if it was the second Hokage, as no one would have dared to say anything against the Hokage itself. But then again, it was the second Hokage who came up with the darn idea of the council to begin with, as simply shook her head as she said, "Alright, we'll see about it." At this point, she was just hoping that they will settle for, you can say, 1 or 2 months of punishment of ninja license cancel or something like it, as after all she has little power at this whole point. As she gritted her teeth, she has to do something, she has to get the power back to the Hokage just like it has to be, as Hiruzen was way too, you can say, soft for the job, and after his death he has simply laid down all the responsibilities to her as she simply shook her head. As Tsunade had a, you can say, whole, you can say, argument about it as the votes has already been passed. As Tsunade smirked, finally it's about time. After her vote, Naruto would easily will not be banished, as these people will not be able to execute him. As she was about to put her vote, but then Koharu speak up. "What are you doing, Lady Hokage?" As Tsunade said, "Well, I'm putting my vote, of course." As Koharu said, "Well, it seems that you are a bit misinformed, Lady Hokage." As Tsunade simply looked towards her, as trying to figure out what she was actually saying, as Danzo smirked, as Tsunade noticed that as something was telling her that, as it is something that she do not want to know. As Danzo said, "Well, Lady Hokage, according to the law of Konoha, as in the case of one become a missing nin or council is deciding for one to be exiled, executed, or banished, Hokage has no say in the matter because Hokage, as the village cannot have Hokage to be biased about something." As Tsunade's eyes widened, what the hell was her sensei smoking all of this year? He has even erased the whole vote concept. As a matter of fact, he has simply left Hokage without any power to begin with. As Danzo, as she simply looked towards the council members, as some of the clan heads were had sad expression on their faces, while on the other hand some of them had smirks, as especially the elders as well as the civilian council members. As Tsunade was, you can say, at this point her mind was simply blank. And now let us cut back to Naruto, who was simply moving across the village, as simply ignoring the glares that were everywhere. But then he came to, you can say, a stop, as he was around the training ground as he started to walk towards it. As he stood up there, as he said, "I already know you're there, come out already." As then there was two flashes, as two people arrived there, actually one person as well as another, a small dog, as this was none other than Kiba and Akamaru, as both of them simply glaring towards Naruto, as Naruto simply looked towards him. "What do you want, Kiba?" As Kiba shot a glare, "You already know what I want, demon. I already know your secret. You will not fool me anymore." As Naruto gritted his teeth, as it was a word which he simply did not want it to hear from one of his friends, and Kiba was actually one of his oldest friends, along with Shikamaru and Choji, even though sometime he became, you can say, quite a jerk, but still. As Naruto simply looked towards him as he said, "So I'm a demon now, huh, Kiba?" As but before he could say anything, as Kiba said, "Shut up! You do not know what I have lost to you, demon, and you will pay for all of your crimes. I will not tolerate this, and now it's about time you started to pay, demon." As now Akamaru, fang over fang, as both of them rushed towards Naruto. As Naruto gritted his teeth, he was still not completely healed, as he quickly jumped out of the way, as both of the drills simply slammed into the ground, as Kiba simply changed the trajectory, trying to rush towards Naruto, who has already made several clones, trying to, you can say, confuse him. As Naruto gritted his teeth, he was still lacking a bit of his chakra, but he simply shook his head. He has to do it at this point. As after, you can say, both of them started to battle for some time, but then suddenly a large hand slammed into Naruto, sending him flying, as which completely caught Naruto off guard as he was slammed into a tree. As he looked to see an angry Choji was glaring towards Naruto, as Naruto cursed once again in his mind what happened to all of his friends. Damn it, first Sakura and then all of his other friends, at least they did not outright attack him, and then Akamaru as well as Kiba, and now Choji has Naruto gritted his teeth, as but before both of them attack him, a shadow captured all three of them, stopping them. As you can say, Choji glared back and then his eyes widened and softened a little as Shikamaru was there. Shadow paralysis complete. As Shikamaru simply looked towards Choji, a bit disappointed, and then he looked towards Kiba as utter rage and hatred was in the eyes of Kiba as well as Akamaru, as both of them were glaring towards him and telling him with a silent glare to release them. As Shikamaru simply shook his head. You two have to stop this now. You as well, Akamaru, as who barked towards him as Kiba simply looked towards Naruto. I will not, never let you go, Uzumaki Naruto. I will have your head no matter what. As he glared towards Naruto, as Naruto was at this point was huffing and puffing. He has already wasted a bit of his chakra. Hell, a lot of his chakra. He was still not healed completely, at least not chakra wise. As he stood up once again, huh? So this is it, huh, Kiba? You as well, Joji. You do not believe me? As Shikamaru was now looking towards Naruto, as Naruto simply looked towards them with sadness and disappointment, as well as something hidden, which Shikamaru was able to take note of utter hatred and anger, as it was something which flashes into the eyes of Naruto for a moment. It was not the eyes of the fox or anything like it, but still it was there. And with well practiced, suppressed for some time, and Shikamaru was thinking for how much time it would be suppressed as Naruto simply looked towards him and simply started to walk away while all the time Kiba was simply shouting curses and you can say promises that how he will take him down and things like that as Shikamaru sighed at that and he started to talk to both of them while Kiba simply ignoring them while Choji a bit still angry about Naruto being the whole nine tails thing but still as Shikamaru was trying his best to explain the whole situation. As an Ambu landed beside Naruto, as he said, Uzumaki Naruto, you have been your presence is demanded in the council. As Naruto gritted his teeth, it was always demanded, never requested. As he simply nodded at that, as the Ambu put a hand to the shoulder of Naruto and then both of them simply went hard sunshine into the council room. As Naruto was a bit surprised, trying to think what worse even could get, but he thought that it must be about something Sasuke or the whole mission report, but he simply shook his head as at this point he has many things going through in his head, but still the trauma of all the things was yet to hit him, but still but he was after the visit of Sakura, he was feeling something inside of him as if it was long forgotten, long suppressed. It was utter rage and hatred that was there, but still, with you can say practice, well practiced, being as it was suppressed and things like that. As Naruto looked around into the council chamber, as you could see, the civilian council members who had huge smirks on their faces, and then there was the clan heads who some had smirks as well as angry looks on their faces, while some of them were simply looking towards Naruto with pity in their eyes, as Naruto was already dreading something. He has already lost his friends and all the things, but there was still hope that how they will understand after some time. They were just angry, just like Shikamaru told him, right? And then there was his sensei, Kakashi, who never visited him when he was in the hospital or anything like it. And then not even Jiraiya came to look towards him and wondering where Jiraiya could actually be. But then there was, you can say, Tsunade as he looked towards the Hokage as well as his elders, as some of them, as Danzo had a stoic face, while on the other hand, Koharu and Hamura were simply looking towards him as he was nothing but a thing to be used, while on the other hand Tsunade was not even looking towards him as she was simply covering her face with her hands and looking towards the ground as if it was the most interesting thing she has ever seen, as Naruto was already dreading something as there was a tense aura across the room. As Danzo speak up, Uzumaki Naruto, do you know why you have been summoned in this council? As Naruto simply looked towards him, as this man simply you can say looks like a bad news, but at this point Naruto is way too much you can say emotionally traumatized to think about such things. As he said, well, I honestly do not know. As Danzo, speak up. Uzumaki Naruto, you have been summoned here so that we can announce you to the decision of this council about your punishment for hurting one Uchiha Sasuke and using unnecessary force against him in the mission. As Naruto's eyes widen at that, the mission in which he bring back his friend back, and the very mission which he thought that after doing it he will have the recognition of the villagers and the village as whole. As Naruto simply looked towards him as he said, what do you mean about the punishment? I completed the mission. As Koharu speak up, you use unnecessary force on one Uchiha Sasuke to bring him back. Your mission was to retrieve him, but you use force on him. You have fractured two of his ribs as well as there were several fractures on his one of his arm and another fracture on his leg. As Naruto simply looked towards her as if she has lost her mind in her old age. As Naruto gritted his teeth as you can say Danzo speak up, and you have also used 9 days chakra within the battle against one Uchiha Sasuke, which simply announced that how you have no control over your emotions as well as the power of the 9 days, and you're a danger to this village and must be dealt with. As Naruto gritted his teeth and said, huh, so you say that I fractured two of his ribs and his arm and his leg, and what about me? He plunged two Chidoris on my chest as he Naruto, you can say, show the shirt and pulling up his shirt and showing two scars, as most of the people knew that how it must be, you can say, the fox which has already healed, but scars were still there. As the clan heads eyes widened already at that, they knew the assassination technique known as the Chidori as well as Raikiri. As Danzo speak up as he said, well, it matters little, as Sasuke Uchiha was under the control of the curse mark as well as the Orochimaru. He was not in the control of himself. So it must be, you can say, a accident, nothing more than that. While on the other hand, you knew that he was under the control, and but still you use excessive force on him, which was not necessary. As Naruto gritted his teeth, they were simply trying to put all the blame on him. He could say many things, all the things he wanted to say in the world, even if he was correct. They will not listen. They have already made their decision. Could easily tell by simply looking towards the council member, as Naruto simply looked towards Danzo with a cold and, you can say, emotional expression, which surprises Danzo as well as most of the council members that were there. Even Tsunade was taken aback from it, as Naruto said, you guys have already came to the conclusion, haven't you? As at least he met with a silence, dead silence, as Naruto said, so why bother with this trial? Already announced the decision about this so-called punishment of yours and get this over with. As Danzo gritted his teeth, you boy, you will show respect to your betters. As he glared towards Naruto, but Naruto simply did not even look towards him, which angered Danzo even further. As Koharu, seeing that the situation was getting, you can say, a bit out of hand, as he said, very well then, Uzumaki Naruto, your decision has been already being made. So this is the decision of the council for you, one Uzumaki Naruto, as this council has deemed you to be a threat to the village as well as you have used excessive force on your mission and trying to hurt an innocent as well as a loyal shinobi to this village, and therefore your punishment is pretty simple. Even though we wanted to push for your execution, you can be grateful for to our Hokage. You are hereby banished from Konoha. And this Naruto's eyes widened for a moment as most of the people were ready to see the broken spirit of the kid which they have tormented years, and all the beatings, all the abuse, and all the, you can say, outrage, demands, and simple, you can say, bills and things like that. But in the end, they were never able to break him. They were more than happy to see him broken at their feet and begging them to let him stay or something like it. But to their surprise, as Naruto did not react, as he simply looked towards all of them with emotionless blue eyes, which shocked and most of them, even the, you can say, Shinobi council member were taken aback from it, those eyes reminding them of someone else, but they simply shook their thought out of their mind, not wanting to go there. And if they were to indulge on those thoughts, then guilt will always be there, but not wanting to think about it whatsoever. As Naruto simply nodded at that, and when do I have to leave? This as Koharu simply speak up. Well, we have decided, thanks to your injuries, you can stay one day, but tomorrow at 2 a.m. you have to leave. As from 2 p.m. you have to leave the village. As Naruto simply nodded at that, as he simply was about to step away, as Hamura speak up, wait. As Naruto stop at that, you will hand over that Hitae that belongs to the village. As Naruto simply stopped for some time, this was the Hitae of recognition which was given to him by Iruka sensei. As Naruto did not stop, as he started to walk even further, as Ambu, you can say, appeared next to him. As Koharu said, it seems that you did not listen to me, Uzumaki Naruto. You will hand over that Hitae to us. As Naruto simply looked back towards him as he said, I will hand it over to the one who has given it to me, not you, old man. As Hamura grated his teeth as Tsunade said, enough, as all of them simply looked towards her as she was silenced in all the meeting. You can leave, Naruto, and you can return the Hitae to your sensei. As Naruto simply did not say anything as they started to walk away, as the Ambu simply looked towards each other and nodded and went away. As Koharu and Hamura were not happy about it, while on the other hand Danzo was already making plans that how he's going to recruit that brat to his root, and then he will have a perfect weapon to use against Tsunade, and then he will become Hokage. Huh, a pity if the Hiruzen would have given the boy to him, then he would not have to use all the tactics, all the beatings and things like that on the poor boy. But now, at last, he will have his perfect weapon against Tsunade as well as the elemental nations. As Danzo let out a smirk at that, even though with all the emotionless, you can say, stuff, he was quite emotional guy and quite coward to begin with. So yeah, as Tsunade had a sad expression on her face as she simply stood up and went away, along with her armboots, while on the other hand, most of the council members were simply looking towards her as Tsunade was cursing repeatedly in her mind towards Hiruzen Sarutobi. How could that old man be a fool of this degree? She has to tell Jiraiya, not even knowing that how Jiraiya will actually react as she sighed at that. So this was the reason why Council sent Jiraiya to that stupid mission saying something about some threats of the S rank shinobi or something like it. As she gritted her teeth on that, how could she be fooled by the council like this? They just wanted her to be weak so that they could use the opportunity to take down the boy, and they have finally done it. As she gritted her teeth even further as tears were already coming to her eyes, while on the other hand Naruto was walking, you can say, as aimlessly in the village, while on the other hand he could already see several places were already being decorated. No doubt about the celebration, about the demon finally getting out of their lives or things like it. Foolish people, as Naruto thought in his mind. But among all of his emotions, one of his emotion which was always dormant no matter what he did, it was always there but dormant never, as it was none other than utter hatred. Sometimes Naruto thinks that it could even rival the hatred that of an Uchiha. As well, thinking about of Uchiha, he never visited Sasuke. But then again, does he even wants to? No doubt Sakura will be there. He will also see Kakashi roaming around the place, around his precious Uchiha, his prized student to begin with. As Naruto simply sigh at that, as at this point he just have one person to go to meet, the only person who truly, you can say, recognized him as something more than the Nine Tails, as he could see that how the villagers never recognized him as a boy, even after the Chunin exam in which he defeated Gaara, who was a Jinchuriki of Ichibi. They never recognized him when he bring back the precious Uchiha who wanted to go to the Orochimaru. Well, he simply shook his head. At this point, he just wanted to meet the guy who recognized him, and the only one possibly in the village. If Tsunade cannot, you can say, stand up to him, then It seemed that she was not trustworthy. Jiraiya was not there to begin with. While on the other hand, Kakashi, he just did not want to think about it, as he simply went off as he finally arrived to the, you can say, the place where he knew that Iruka will be there, and that was Academy, even though it was shut at this point. But Iruka was always there. If any kid wanted some type of help, Iruka always remained behind the place, always trying to check some papers or something like it. Naruto never figured out, and to be honest, he did not care. He always found Iruka when he wanted help in the academy, so he must be here, right? As after some time, Naruto finally arrived there as Iruka was going through some papers, but then he noticed Naruto as his eyes widened for a moment, and then a sad expression came to his face, as he already knew that how the elders have removed the law of the third Hokage, and at this point, all the younger generation knows about Naruto being the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, but he did not knew that Naruto is being banished from Konoha. As Naruto simply looked towards Iruka with a sad smile on his face, Iruka rushed towards Naruto, giving him a hug at that as he said, "Well, Naruto, are you alright?" As Naruto simply did not say anything as he said, "Huh, well, Iruka sensei, I just wanted to meet you, wanted to have a lost Ichiraku ramen," as Naruto was trying his best to put back the tears that were coming, threatening to come to his eyes, as he has not cried for years, the day when he decided that he will become strong, a shinobi, the Hokage, as he did not cry after that day, even all the beatings, he was stubborn, he never allowed the tears to slip into his eyes. But it seemed that this day was not that great. But then, come to think about it, it was almost near the 10th October, his birthday, as he simply shook his head, as he never liked it to begin with, as he simply looked towards Haruka as he said, "Well, Haruka sensei, so are you up for it?" As Haruka let out a sad smile as he said, "But of course, I can always have time to have ramen with my little brother." As Naruto said, after you. As Ruka let out a small laugh as both of them finally shared a small, you can say, Ichiraku ramen and simply went off as Ruka sighed as he said, well, yes, at least things were well, as he was looking around why people were preparing, but then again it was, well, the QB festival was coming nearby, so they must be preparing for it. As Iruka did not pay mind to it, as he simply went towards the academy, or decided to go to his home after all. But unknown to him, on his desk in the academy, there was a headband as well as a small letter of goodbye. While on the other hand, Naruto Uzumaki has already packed up his things. If people of Konoha did not wanted him, then he will not want them. And this is a promise to all, as Naruto was simply looking towards, as standing on the top of Hokage Monument, as he was looking down at the village. And this is how it shall be. If the village does not want him, then he does not want the village. As this is the story of Uzumaki Naruto, and this is a promise to all that he will become the strongest there is, the shinobi, which the world will know to fear of, as the utter rage was in the eyes of Naruto, as he simply went off. So, what will be the story of Uzumaki Naruto? Will he become strong shinobi or who knows? And yeah guys, here I will end this part. Hope you guys enjoyed. And for the next part, the ideas are open. If you guys want to suggest me something, just do it in the comment section and I will think about it. And for the like goal, let's just think about it. The like goal is going to be 350 likes and 200 comments. Do that and I shall upload the next part as quick as possible. And hope that you guys like the video. Please guys subscribe and yeah, follow me on Instagram by the name of AR Legends 1234. So yeah guys, peace.